Hello, Selbu Facebook people. Pastor John, Mudflat Preacher here, and I'm on a little bike trip. This is my friend Eric. What you got? What you got to say for yourself, buddy?
Well, I want to say hi to your friends there at Selbu Mudflat, and also those who are following this on Facebook. We're off to a great start today, and we're here in Georgia at Spirit of Peace Lutheran Church, a lovely church.
Looks like somebody has, kind of put their sleeping bag in the center aisle, Pastor. Think that's okay?
Well, seeing as that you usually put people to sleep in church, it's about time you get to sleep in church.
So I get to sleep in church.
You get to sleep in church
I get to
for
sleep.
once.
Well, but for those that didn't know, Eric invited me on this bike trip a while back, and I've been training inside. Let's walk out here, Eric, and we'll show them your bike.
All right.
And I didn't say much. I'm a little secretive, as you know, on vacation, because I've canceled twice on Eric. And he's younger than I am, but he's been under the knife quite a bit, so neither one of us know how many trips we got in us, right, buddy?
Yeah, you got to do it while you can.
But Eric and I met the summer of 1978 in Taiwan. Was I like a distinguished leader that everybody highly respected, or was I just
You were something, and you were a leader of. There were 10 college students that went over. You were our leader, and we were teaching English to Taiwanese students who wanted to come to America, and they had to take this thing called a TOEFL test of English as a foreign language. And they had to pass that before they could come and study. So we were there helping them with their conversational English. And we had a few days off in the middle of the summer, and I hadn't been on a bike trip, you had. And so we bought two $15 10-speeds, and we spent 4 or 5 days going down the east coast of Taiwan. That was the start of it all.
And we've
maintained a friendship all these years.
Yeah, and we've been on a few. We were on BC to the bridge. And then Eric's we were over here, we ordered pizza, but this church, tell them about how we got to stay at this church quickly.
Well, on our trip, we'll be staying, I think it's at 3 churches, and I just kind of broke up the trip into the lengths that we wanted to ride each day, and I called the pastor here, and he said, sure, we could stay here. So I got here a little before John today.
It's because he's younger and faster, not quite as fat. I'll say that.
And the pastor just was very, very gracious. He waited an extra hour here at church for us to get here. And he just said, yep, here's the church. You can sleep in my office, in the nursery, wherever you want.
And we kind of took over the kitchen, didn't we?
Yes.
So Eric's stuff's here. Now the original plan was going to be a 35-mile day, but it turned out to be about 54. Eric has a very nice little bike, and he's sleeping, where are you, in the nursery?
I'm sleeping in the nursery.
All right, we'll pass on that one, but they got name tags here, and this pastor's going to retire, so I don't think Eric's going to apply for this job, are you?
No.
No. All right, so I'm going to give this to Eric, and I'm going to give an inspirational talk on Lent. Let's see how this goes.
You're going to give a what talk?
Inspirational talk about Lent. So
Okay.
Good luck with this.
All right. It's kind of an inspiring time of the year.
Yeah. Oh, God. So this is where I'm going to sleep tonight. Right here. And how are we doing, Eric? I'll let you get settled in there.
Yep.
Get your chair over. This will be an informal Facebook thing. We have some videos. I might have Shanette put it on hers or maybe on mine, but we've had a couple of good videos today. We had a lunch, beautiful lunch, outdoor in a park area right in Savannah, Georgia. We started at Hardyville, and I flew out Monday morning, and Eric and his wife Joan picked us up, drove down here to Hardyville, and she drove back, and she's back working in Minnesota. And anyway, here's the Lenten talk on encouragement. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear. I don't want to allow my computer's talking to me, which I don't want it to do. So we're not going to stop this, Eric. There we go. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with a righteous hand. My little theme for this is encouragement. Be an encourager. What can you do during Lent? You can not eat chocolate. You can stop a bad habit, or you can be an encourager. Eric's been an encourager for me through the years. Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Today, at about mile 41, I was presenting some requests. Eric went on ahead because the pastor was waiting for us. He had a little more energy than I, but anyway, we got here. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And then from Psalm 34, 4-5, I sought the Lord, and he answered me, delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to God are radiant, their faces shall never be ashamed. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. And we didn't have a lot of Lenten discipline in where I grew up. We observed Lent, and a lot of people, like I said, they'd give up certain things. But I'm thinking about encourage someone this Lent. I'll pick on somebody. Dear Ann Emerson is one of the great encouragers, not only at Selbu, but in my whole life. Ann's over 90 now, and she encourages me. After every sermon, after every Facebook, Ann is just there, and she prays. She's got a long prayer list. She's been living at the Hillray for over 10 years. Of course, you all know the story. I moved into Mudflat in the house back in May of 2012, and a couple months later, or a few months later, Bud and Judy left the neighborhood, and then Ann and Jim left the neighborhood, and then Verna Stevenson left the neighborhood, and I thought, Eric, is it me? Eric's never heard this story, but it was mystical when I first got the mud flat, and I was single in those days, and I had this little U-Haul, and some of the guys, well, they were going to come over in the morning, but before they got there, I opened the door, and right outside was a little pot of coffee and some hot rolls, and I thought, this is going to be nice, Eric. I mean, every day it's going to be like man in the desert. So I went out the next day, and nothing. Giuliani did that. I tease her about that. But I know I had a lot of encouragement in coming here. I'd been on my bike ride. My resume was, questionable. Gone through divorce. Been on a bike ride. Who's going to take a chance on me? And of course, you did. And you've encouraged me. And hopefully I've been able to encourage you. Today, when Eric was ahead, and I was just sitting there, went in and got a Coke, and there was this, 30, 40 something lady, and I was just sitting there. I said, do I look really bad sitting here? And she said, no. She said, looks like you've been on a hard ride and you're just resting. I said, thank you, I needed that. And she went into her car, and I sat down, and she gave me a little encouragement along the way. I know people in our church who are going through health problems right now, and problems with kids or grandkids, and many of us need a word of encouragement. So we get that, of course, on Sunday morning. We get that in all kinds of ways. But just this last thing, when, of course, we're on a journey, and we think about Lent being a journey. We passed a lot of churches, didn't we, Eric? Probably more Baptists than anything. And we saw a few Lutheran, and then this one Lutheran church said, Lent, join the journey this year. So we're on a little journey. So neither one of us we trained inside on our own bikes, but it's not easy to train. He's in Minnesota, so he's really had a cold. I've been training at Mudflat and haven't been able to be outside, but Eric encouraged me and I encouraged him, and we're able to do the trip. So my brief message is thank you for your encouragement. Pray for Eric and me. I'll have to admit, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of trucks. We had to be real careful today. So encourage one another. We'll see you in a couple weeks. I'm going to miss a couple Sundays here, but this is refreshment for my spirit, as we talked about last Sunday in church. So take care and God bless. Lent isn't time to encourage. So find someone today, or think of somebody. You can text, you can email, you can call somebody, make a visit, but encourage somebody for Lent. Thanks a lot. Saying goodbye from Spirit of Peace Lutheran Church here in New Richmond, Georgia. And Eric has a really funny thing when he greeted me. We'll put that on Facebook later. So God bless. Bye-bye.